Today we've come down to the lovely Southend Farm Fishery in Essex, just off the M25, and on recent form this has been the mecca of silverfish fishing. Some incredible weights on the matches recently. There's a Fish South final coming up on the venue soon as well, so there's been lots of attention coming to the lake, so we thought we'd bring you down, have a look and get some of the action ourselves. Like the match, I think there was a match yesterday or the day before, and it was one with 120 pounder skimmers, and like the backup weights were ridiculous, down to I think like last place in the match had 50 to 60 pound themselves, which just goes to show how many fish are in the lake. We've sat on Peg 6 today, which is over the far side as you drive in. There's a little match on the front bank, so we've just sort of come and sat out the way of them guys. Yeah, we've had a decent start. We've caught some big skimmers already. Just looking at the weights and speaking to a few people that have been fishing the matches, look, pellets has been the main bait that I'm sort of gathering has been doing all the damage. And the trouble is with this lake, it's so deep. Like today we're fishing short, so we're fishing like a top 5, and it's like, I'd say 8-9 foot deep there. So there's no real need to fish long. I mean, in the match, I'm sure when there's a bit more pressure on it, you'll have to have a long line set up. But at the minute, I think all the damage has been done on this short line, seem to catch them better fish. Like again, talking to the guys that have been coming, baits that they've been fishing, pellets just seems to be the one. So we've just knocked up today, kept it nice and simple. I've got a bag of mainline match. Oh, missed the bite then. We've got a bag of mainline match 2mm cell pellets. I've soaked them for like 3 minutes and then let them air off, and they go like a lovely, nice, sticky texture then. You can feed them loose, you can feed them in a bowl. We've messed about with it a little bit today. I think the biggest thing with this sort of fishing is just mess about with how you're feeding it. As you can see, I've got a cad pot on at the minute. At the start, when we kicked off, we was just like feeding little balls of micros through a bigger pot, and sort of fishing it out for 2 or 3 fish, topping it up a little bit. And then as it got better and better, we've put a kinder pot on, so we're feeding a lot more regular. Try hold fish in your peg a lot for a lot longer. Also, you can try it. It's like today, it's not been really right for it because it's been quite blowy today. But if it's not, because we've not got loads of tow, just feeding some loose micros. Although it's deep, you can still get away with feeding loose micros. Just that little bit of extra attraction. I think like that's why I think micros are so good. There's so many more things you can do with them. And then literally just on the hook, all we've got is a 4mm expander. Mainline match, natural 4mm expander. Absolutely perfect for it. The only other bait I have brought with me today is, I know from previous experience and people on this lake, corn can be quite a good bait. So we've been now and again just cupping in a few grains of corn. Let's have a little bite there, miss. Yeah, a few grains of corn, just to change of bait. Every now and again we've just put a bit of corn on. It's not been as good as pellets. Caught an odd fish on it, but not as many. So yeah, we've just been chopping and changing like that, mixing it up with the feed. Like again, like a couple of times when we was feeding with a kinder pot earlier, it went a little bit funny, drew a few too many small fish in, so we went back to just literally feeding a slightly bigger ball, not massive, and then just sort of fishing it out and being a bit more patient. And then when you got a bite, it was a slightly better fish. You can really see when you can get on some of them bigger skimmers, you can see why they're catching such big weights at the minute. Like I say, it's about 8 or 9 foot here today. Here we go. That's it. That's one of them big ones. See, that time there, I missed the bite and I never went back in with another little ball. Just felt like if I'd fed again, might have missed out on that. But you can see why when you're catching these fish, it don't take long to build a weight of them. I mean, that's a small one really for today, but you're still talking sort of 14 ounce getting on for a pound. But yeah, going on to the rig, we're just literally fishing one of the bobby style floats in a wire stem. I've got them set up in carbon as well, but with the wind the way it is today and we're fishing pellets, little balls of pellets, I felt a wire would be better. We've got a 0.75 And then mainline, where it's like I say, it's no, you don't really need to worry about going too light on a mainline. I've set up on 017 N gauge, perfect for it. It's a nice, robust, strong line, and that's never going to let you down. Especially if you're in and out and catching plenty of fish. And then that goes down to an 010 of the new Supernatural, and that's brilliant. The new hook length material. Well, it's not just for hook lengths. I use it for mainline a lot now as well. I've been trying it out. Just seems a lovely line. It knots really well as well, and that goes down to a 16 F1 pellet, and that's just perfect for this style of fishing. And shotting wise, it's literally, we've got a little bulk about 50 centimetres from the hook, and then there's probably about 6 shots tapered out from the bulk down to the hook length, and that just creates a lovely curve when you're flicking your rig in. And that's been working out lovely, to be fair. The only other thing, I think, although we're fishing short today, you fish a little bit of a shorter line, I've still left the line about 18 inches long. It's just like where you're feeding your pellets, it's nice, a good little tip, is just to flick your rig beyond your feed. We've caught quite a lot of fish today, just flicking that 18 inches beyond and catching a few like that. And another good little tip is where I'm fishing on this, although I'm on a top 5, I've got a little safe section on, and that's ideal because you can feed your bait back on your elbow on your joint, and you've always, if you want to fish past your bait, you've always got that little bit extra there. You can go that extra sort of foot past, and where them big wary fish are just sitting off where you're feeding most of your bait, you can catch a few of them there. Let's see if we can catch another one now. But yeah, the good thing is just chopping and changing a little bit, because it's a carp, because it's a commercial venue, there is a lot of carp in here as well. So there will be times when it goes a little bit iffy. If you get, we've hooked one carp today where they move into the swim and then they will just like unsettle the other fish. It might take them a little bit longer to regroup. So it's always worth just chopping and changing, messing about with how you're feeding, whereabouts you lay your rig, how you're laying your rig in. And like I say, having that hook bait choice is always a good little thing as well, because you could put a bit of corn on, have 3 or 4 real quick fish, and when they're sort of anything from £1 to £3, yeah, that's a massive difference. Let's give it another little nugget. Check that hook bait. Yep, that's all good. And again, all we're doing literally when we're kinder potting is just making a little nugget like that. Nice, squeeze it nice and nice so it goes down to the bottom. And then just literally drop that in, flick your rig in, and pull your rig back on top of where you fed it. Again, like now, just flick past, just let the rig just settle then. And when that rig cocks, you're probably going to be about 1.5 foot past where that slightly longer lash. You're going to be about 1.5 foot past your bait now, where you fed. And any of them slightly better fish that are coming in from out there, they're going to pick up your hook bait first, ideally. There we go. It just makes a difference straight away. Slightly smaller fish, this one. It's a little skimmer. But still, as long as you're putting fish in your net, in amongst them slightly better fish. See, now I feel like feed again. Just try and regulate your feeding. Sometimes feeding, you can start getting line as if you're feeding every chuck. Sometimes it's really good. You just got to play about with it. Just see, it'll always change throughout the day as well. You know, like what's good at one stage might not be good all day long. You have to be really adaptive to change. Let's lay that in again. Feed another little nugget. See, it might mean like later on again, going back to feeding slightly more bait in one hit and then fishing it out for 2 or 3 fish. It's just worth chopping and changing. But I mean this venue is just unbelievable. When you look at how many, I mean, in the summertime, 250 pound weights of skimmers come off of this lake. It's just absolutely stuffed with them. So you can see why it's been fishing so well. And the good beauty of it is you don't need to go far out. But I think the chap who won the match the other day has literally just fished the top kit and one in front of him. And like caught 120 pounder skimmers. I mean, you're not going to compete with that if you're fishing long, so you really need to make sure you're on the right line. Obviously they're not going to be in every peg like that. Just be patient and wait for a nice clean bite. Every now and again as well, if you feel like you've sat there for a while, just a little lift and drop. But where it's so deep, instead of like lifting your rig about sort of 6 inches out of the water, just try and lift it up like a couple of foot and then let it come back in. Almost like you've just like fed a bit of bait, it's just come in. Sometimes that can entice a bite. When you're hooking your expander as well, just get a nice sort of uniform one, no air in it, looks like it's not going to break down, and then just literally roll it on the barrel, roll it onto your hook like that. Perfect. Another little nugget of micros. Lay your rig past, back there, feed your little ball, and then lift your rig onto it. There we go, straight away. And then you can sort of tell when you're fishing like that, when you feed your ball and you lay your rig onto it, if you get a bite on your feed, you know, that's, you know, when you know that's been the right way to do it. But sometimes if you don't sort of get a bite like that, that's when you want to be flicking it past. Off the back of your feed and catching a few like that. I'm not going to feed again now because we caught that one straight away. Let's just see if we can catch another one off that same little ball. It, lay your rig past. Just try and get your rig always coming in nice and straight, so that when any bite or any fish comes and you get an indication on that pellet, you read it on your float. There we go, look at that straight away. That's a slightly better fish again. See, if we fed again straight away then, we might not have caught that fish. Another nice skimmer. So many fish in this lake, it's ridiculous. Great fishing. Certainly don't take long to build a weight of them when you're catching plenty of them.